Ever catch yourself picturing, like, those simple joys, you know, biting into a crisp apple, just like sharing a laugh with friends, or even just flashing a confident smile without a second thought? Yeah, those little things can kind of become distant memories when you're dealing with tooth loss or if you're struggling with dentures. But what if I told you there's a way to actually reclaim those moments? Like, really feel like yourself again. That's what we're diving into today. Implant-supported dentures. Something, by the way, that you've been researching, so this deep dive's for you.
Yeah, and it's exciting because, we're talking about a real game changer here, for a lot of people. Instead of dentures that just kind of rest on your gums, imagine this. These are anchored right into your jawbone. We're talking about using these tiny titanium posts called implants.
Okay, titanium implants. I'm not going to lie, that sounds kind of intense, but also kind of awesome. Like, are we talking bionic jaws here or what? But I'm guessing it's more about restoring that natural feel, right?
You hit the nail on the head. They're so securely anchored, implant-supported dentures, they work more like your natural teeth. Think about it. Speaking clearly, enjoying all kinds of foods, not having to constantly worry about your dentures slipping. But here's the thing that many people don't realize: they can even help protect your jawbone health.
See, now that's something that I bet a lot of us, myself included, wouldn't even think about. So it's not just about the teeth themselves. It's about, like, the bigger picture, your overall oral health.
Absolutely. When you lose teeth, your jawbone can actually start to deteriorate over time. But implants help stimulate the bone so they actually keep it strong and healthy. It's a long-term solution, not just a quick fix.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, I know this probably sounds a little too good to be true. So let's talk about, well, the elephant in the room, the cost. What should people be prepared for if they're considering this option?
Well, you're right. It's an important thing to consider. That cost can really vary. It depends on a bunch of things, like how many implants you're going to need, what type of implants we're talking about. Are we talking traditional? Are we talking mini? And then are there any kind of extra procedures involved? Like, sometimes you need a bone graft, which basically helps rebuild your jawbone if it's needed.
Okay, bone graft, that makes sense. So when you say a range of costs, what are we actually talking about here?
Right. So like your research mentioned, traditional implants, those usually cost somewhere between like $1,600 to $2,200 per implant. But then you got your mini implants, and those are smaller, obviously. Those can be anywhere from like $500 to $1,500 each. And keep in mind here, this is just for the implants themselves. We haven't even gotten to the dentures yet.
Oh, right.
And those can range too from like $1,500 to $4,000 for a full set of porcelain dentures, which they look amazing, incredibly natural.
So we're looking at a starting point, if you add all that up, somewhere around, what, $6,000 to $8,000 per arch?
Yeah.
But it could be even higher with all those other factors, like you said. That's definitely an investment. No way around it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's not exactly cheap. And then, unfortunately, most insurance plans, they don't really want to help out too much here. They don't offer the same coverage for implant-supported dentures, not compared to traditional dentures anyway. It's always a good idea to, double-check your plan, because coverage can vary.
For sure. Always good to check. But it sounds like it's all about weighing that upfront cost with those long-term benefits you were talking about, right? Especially, when you compare it to the lifespan and, like, all the potential issues, all the hassle you might have with those other denture options. And speaking of different options, and, I'd love to dig into the details here, I noticed in your research they make a distinction. They talk about implant-supported versus implant-retained dentures. Are those the same thing, or is there more to it?
Ooh, excellent catch. Yeah, people use those terms interchangeably all the time. But there are some key differences. So implant-supported dentures, those are fixed. They're fixed permanently to the implants. Think of them just like your natural teeth, always there. But then you have implant-retained dentures, and those are removable, so you can snap them in and out for cleaning and stuff.
That's it. So it's not just a name. It's really about how they actually function in your mouth. What are some of the main things people should be thinking about when they're comparing these two options?
Well, one of the biggest differences is how you bite and chew. Dentists, they call this bite quality fancy, right? But basically, since implant-supported dentures are fixed directly to your jawbone, they distribute the force of the bite more evenly, just like natural teeth do. Which means, hey, you can bite into that juicy apple, no problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Exactly. And it's way more comfortable, too. Reduces pressure on your gums, all that good stuff.
That makes a lot of sense. So with the removable ones, with the implant-retained dentures, there's still some pressure on your gums because they're not, actually anchored in the same way.
You got it. They are more stable than traditional dentures for sure, but you might not have that same, natural bite quality that you get with the fixed option. Another difference is the number of implants that you need. So implant-supported dentures, you're usually looking at 4 to 8 implants per arch, for that rock solid stability. Although there is this technique called all-on-4, and that uses just 4 implants to support a whole arch, it's amazing.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. Implant-retained dentures, on the other hand, those usually only need 2 to 4 implants.
So it sounds like there are options out there for different situations, which is great.
Exactly. And there are even more options if traditional implants aren't a good fit. Like, say someone doesn't have enough bone for traditional implants. Dentists can use what are called mini dental implants or even superior steel implants. And those are placed under the gum tissue, but like on top of the jawbone. So that can sometimes get rid of the need for a bone graft entirely.
Huh. Interesting. So it's not like one size fits all. It's about finding what works for each person. Now, let's talk about like daily life with implant dentures. What's maintenance like? Is it a huge hassle? Yeah, because I think we all want things to be easy, right? Especially when we're talking about something as important as our teeth. So give it to us straight. What's the daily routine like for actually keeping these implants clean?
So the good news is caring for implant dentures, whether they're fixed or removable, it's a lot like taking care of, your natural teeth.
Okay, so we're talking like brushing, flossing, all the usual suspects.
Exactly. You want to brush every day, use a soft bristled brush, your regular toothpaste. That's key. Be gentle, be gentle around the gums. But you got to make sure you get all those food particles out of there. A water flosser can be really helpful too, especially for cleaning around the implants and under the denture. Oh, and make sure it's on a low setting though. Don't want too much pressure. And then, of course, rinsing with an antibacterial mouthwash. Once or twice a day, that'll help keep the bacteria away.
So it's all about maintaining those good habits that, we hopefully all learned growing up.
Absolutely. But one thing to keep in mind with implants specifically, regular flossing, it can be a little tricky. You'll definitely want to talk to your dentist, get their advice on the best flossing techniques because you don't want to damage the implant.
Right. Of course not. So it's all the usual good stuff. But with implants, it's like extra important to have that personalized advice from your dentist.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Honestly, your dentist is your best friend through this whole process, from that very first consultation all the way to, post-procedure care. Regular checkups, those are key. You want to make sure everything's healing well, and if there are any issues, you can catch them early.
It really sounds like we have covered a lot of ground in this deep talk today. We talked about what implant-supported dentures actually are. We talked about, the pros and the cons, how much they cost, the difference between the fixed and removable options, even what the procedure and aftercare looks like. I mean, this has been incredibly insightful, I got to say. But before we wrap up, let's recap some of those key takeaways for our listeners.
You got it. So to sum it all up, implant-supported dentures, they really do offer a more stable, more natural feeling, and longer-lasting solution. Way better than traditional dentures, that's for sure. Just imagine regaining the confidence to eat whatever you want, to speak clearly, to smile freely. I mean, that's the potential here.
It's huge.
Right. But that being said, it is important to be mindful of those costs that we talked about and the time commitment, too, for both the procedure itself and the healing.
Right. And then we can't forget about those key differences between the fixed and removable dentures. Like you were saying before, there's no single best option. It's really about, finding what works for your own needs and your lifestyle.
100%, yeah. And then no matter which type you choose, whether it's fixed, removable, whatever, taking good care of them every single day and seeing your dentist regularly, I mean, that's crucial. That's how you protect your investment, right?
Makes sense to me. And this is something that I always find so fascinating. What if there were ways to make this whole implant process even faster, even more affordable than it is now? Because technology is constantly evolving, especially in dentistry, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There are always new techniques and technologies emerging, It's a really exciting time to be in dentistry, I gotta say.
It really is. And on that note, a huge thank you to our listeners for diving deep with us today into this whole world of implant-supported dentures. We hope that this information really empowers you to have those informed conversations with your dentists, and then, ultimately to make the best decisions for your smile and for your well-being too. So until next time, keep exploring and keep smiling.